Hello and welcome to this episode of The Marketing Mix. Today we're going to talk about how you look at your email results, and particularly opens and clicks, and whether you should be looking at more than just your opens and clicks. Now, one of the questions that I get asked the most about email marketing is, what's a good open rate and what's a good click rate? Most people actually ask me more about open rates than anything else, which is interesting because people are keen to get their emails opened, which obviously is a goal for all of us. So I thought before we started off on going through the different types of metrics that you could look at, I would really help you to understand what opens and clicks are and help you understand how they're calculated. And I promise to tell you what a good open and click rate is. So I'll give you an idea of what that looks like. Hi, Yasmin. How are you today? I can see that you're watching. You just said hello. Gosh, got a confession to make. I trimmed my fringe again. Don't tell Karen. For anyone else who's watching, Yasmin owns the hairdressers that I go to, and I'm desperate for a haircut. So let's look at what you're looking, what you want to do to measure your metrics. I'm going to share 3 examples with you of other metrics that you might use other than opens and clicks. But before I do that, what I am going to do is go through the 2 most measured metrics in email marketing. So let's define what an open rate is. This is how many people have opened your email. Now, how you calculate it is there's a little formula. So you look at the number of sends, so the number of email contacts that you sent to, and you deduct from that the number of emails that bounced, that either didn't reach the recipient or there was a out of office response or something like that. So if you deduct your bounces from the number of sends, you get the number of successful sends. Now, your open rate is calculated by the proportion of successful sends that resulted in an open, and that's where you get that percentage. Now, at this point, I will say to you that I use my preview pane in my email tool. I use Outlook, and I look at emails in that preview pane, so I don't open up the emails actually. Now, if I were to receive an email from you and I clicked, my cursor was highlighting that email, but then I moved away from it to a different email, that counts as an open. So the system counts it as an open. So just be wary of that. So it might be that not everyone has actually opened up your email, but most of those opens are real, if you like. So let's talk about click rates. I think you should pay greater attention to your click rates. And the reason for that is because anyone who's clicking on a link in your email is actually showing some interest in the content. It tells you how well your email has performed. So think about it. If you click on a link in an email, you do that because you want to find out more about that piece of content, or it's piqued your interest, or somehow it's related to something that you're working on, or maybe you're maybe you're on the BBC Good Food list, email list, like I am, and you're thinking about recipes to cook, and there's a recipe in there that interests you. So that's a really good metric to pay attention to, because you can see how people are taking action on your email. Now, how are clicks calculated? So it's the number of unique clicks. So unique is a single person clicking on a link once. And that number is divided by the number of unique opens. So if one person opens an email twice, what a unique open is the first time that they opened it. So unique number of clicks divided by unique number of opens times 100, and that gives you your click rate. So that tells you the proportion of people who opened your email who then went on to click. And remember, it counts only the unique clicks and opens, so it's a single click and open. I'm just going to stop at this point and see if there are any questions. No, don't forget to, has the little tickers saying along the bottom, don't forget to ask your questions in the box as we go along. I'll answer those as many of those as I can. Just let me know what your questions are. Gosh. Right. So another question that I get asked a lot is, what is a good open and click rate? Now, I'm going to tell you some averages that are across all industries, but what I will say to you is, don't get hung up on comparing yourself to other people. Compare yourself to the emails that you sent previously. What's happening? Are things going up? Are things going down? So there's a company called Smart Insights that does a lot of research into digital marketing. And they released a piece of research earlier this year. And according to them, a good average across all industries for an open rate is 16.22. So that's 16.22%. So just over 16%. If you're getting over that, well done. If your open rate is below that, there's a little bit of work that you need to do to help people understand why they should open their email, what's in it for them. Now, the average click rate that Smart Insights suggested is across all industries is 7.17%. So if you're above that, brilliant. If your click rate is below that, then again, a little bit of work to do. But these are averages across different industries, so all industries. A good starting point, and again, I'm saying to you, don't judge yourself against other people, but a good starting point for you would be to find out what's the average across your industry. What are people achieving with their opening click rates? And that gives you something to work towards if you are below that. Now, if you're above that, that's brilliant. Keep going. That's a great thing. And use the information that you get with opens and clicks to understand what you should be doing next to increase your opens and clicks, increase what people do with your emails. Now, if your open rate is below that industry average, let me just pop a link into the chat of a blog post I wrote that takes you through the different metrics. So not just opens and clicks. A bit because I've discovered I can't talk and type at the same time. Who else has got that problem? So that link is just coming through to you. So that's a blog post I wrote that helps you understand different types of metrics that you might find in your email marketing report. So, for a low open rate, think about the time that you're sending your emails. If your open rate is low, it might be that you're not sending it at a time that your subscribers are in their inboxes. So you want to do a little bit of testing to work out when the optimum time is for you. Another thing that impacts open rate is the subject line. So I talk a lot about creating subject lines that entice people to open your emails. Something that's intriguing or educational, a question or a piece of humor, so that it kind of gets people's attention. I can see that John's asked a question. What's the best way to increase sales conversions rates? These can be annoyingly unpredictable for me. I think they're annoyingly unpredictable for everybody, unfortunately. I'm going to come on to a sales goal in a minute. So think about what your open and click rates could be and how you could improve on them. So let's just talk about John's question. So I'm going to go through 3 examples of goals that you can set for your email marketing. Now, John, if you're in the Northwest, John has a wine school and his wine tasting events are starting again in June. So I'm going to help with a little bit with the conversion there. If you're anywhere near John, Manchester, go and check out Northern Wine School and book yourself onto a wine tasting evening. But listen, we all want to increase sales. So if like last year has taught us anything, it's that keeping in touch with our customers and prospective customers is crucial. And it gives you a little bit of an edge on your competitors if they're not doing it, but it helps you get those all important sales. So think about how you can set yourself a goal to increase sales. What are you going to do to get that conversion? What I found has worked for me recently, I think if you're on my email list or in my Facebook, well, if you've seen it, I've got an email marketing workshop tomorrow. And 100% of those tickets that have been sold have come from my email list. So I'll let that sink in a little bit. I've been promoting it on social media. I've been promoting it in other Facebook groups that I'm in with other organisations. But everyone that's attending the workshop tomorrow is from my email list. Now I can say that the one thing that worked for me really well was to do a webinar. So I did a webinar last month that was about email marketing, and the follow-up for that was about the workshop. And there was a little bit of persistence because as I followed up everyone that came to the webinar, no one booked immediately. So I was a little bit worried. But then I did some things with my email list, which you won't have seen. If you're on my email list, you won't have noticed. But I segmented my list, and I have sent out separate emails, I think, for the last 2 weeks to the people who attended the workshop and people who registered for the workshop and people who didn't. And what I did was I sent a very specific email about the workshop, and that was it, to both segments, but not at the same time. And then I switched. And it's interesting because I got sales off both emails. So it's interesting how they worked, but that it wouldn't have worked in the same way had I sent everybody everything at the same time. So getting more targeted, and John, I know that's something that you're working on in terms of your data. Getting more targeted and sending people the information that's relevant to them is going to help you to increase those conversions. And I'm sorry if that sounds like the same answer I'm giving you as I did in the Marketing Motivator. But I honestly think that piece of work that you're doing is going to pay dividends, because it's similar to Amazon. When you buy something from Amazon and then they start sending you emails of similar products, although their emails for me have been a bit hit and miss at the more recently, because they've been sending me emails about things, about the types of products that I've already been and bought, so I'm not going to buy them again. But so conversion is segmenting your list, being really specific and talking about one thing. So if you've got one class that you want to sell in, or you want to sell tips places to, don't give people the choice of clicking on other things in your email. Focus in on that one thing, and don't give people the option of not taking action because there's too many choices to make. So I hope that helps, John. So that's the third goal that I was going to talk about, is increasing sales. And it's really setting your goal to see what that's going to be to generate sales from your website. So if that's a goal, pay attention to sales after you've sent out an email, and see if there's a spike. If you use an e-commerce platform like Spotify, make sure that you connect it to the email tool that you're using, the email platform that you're using, because that way it will do that work for you. It will tell you how many things have been sold off that email that you've sent. So that's increasing goals. Increasing sales is one goal. So another goal could be to grow your email list. So rather than measuring opens and clicks, you could look at how you can use your email to grow your list. Having that engaged subscriber base is going to help you to grow your business. It's taken me a while to grow my list. It didn't happen overnight. So if that's your goal, look at your contact report. So in your email marketing software, you will have a contact report, and that will tell you where the signups are coming from. So are they coming from social media? Are they coming from your website? Perhaps your emails are being forwarded on and they're coming from those. What is it that gets people to find your sign up box? And by using that contact report, you're going to be able to make sound decisions about where to focus your efforts in growing your email list. So I haven't publicised this very much. I don't know why, but I am a Small Business Britain champion. And one of the things that I do for them as part of that is I do events for them. And I do a webinar, I do Facebook Live, I do things called Power Hours. And I did a webinar for them last month. And when I'm doing webinars for other people, I don't get the reports. And I sort of remember vaguely there being maybe 100 people watching the webinar. And then a couple of days later, I went into my constant contact account to put together an email. And I nearly had heart failure. It said that my email list had grown by 100. I was like, what? Where have these people come from? I had 99 signups from that webinar to my email list. So that to me is a big kind of siren in terms of what I need to do to grow my email list. So I added pretty much 100 people from one webinar. And the way I did that was to offer something. I offered an email marketing checklist. People signed up for that. And they've opted to stay in touch with me beyond that. And in fact, a couple of those people have signed up for the workshop tomorrow. So you can see my conversion path of coming to people attending that webinar, signing up for my emails, to buying a ticket for that workshop. So look at where your signups are coming from and how you can really use that to your advantage to grow your list. Don't worry if you're not getting hundreds and hundreds of signups. For me, that one time was kind of like an outlier. I get maybe 2 or 3, maybe 5 signups tops per week. And I want a much, a more organic growth is good. And I prefer to have a smaller, more engaged list, so people that are doing something. And in fact, I'm going to give people the opportunity to opt out my list in a couple of weeks' time. I've got an email planned. Again, I'm going to segment my list. The portion of my list that opens my emails regularly will get one email, and the ones that haven't opened any emails for a long time are going to get an email from me that gives them an out, gives them the wherewithal to unsubscribe, remind them that they're on my list. And if they don't want to be anymore, that's fine. I'm going to tell them that they can unsubscribe and I'll only be a teeny tiny bit hurt. Okay, so another goal that you could set for your email marketing is getting traffic to your website. So I think that's important for all of us. We all want to get people to our website, and doing it using email marketing is a great way to do that. So last year, actually, Nominet that keeps the domain registration data. In April 2020, they recorded that there were 147,706 newly registered domains, which is a record high for the first time in 8 years. So if you're a service provider like me, website visitors matter. It's where they come and find out more about me. It's my shop window. I don't have a physical premises. This is my office. I work out of home. I have done for the last 5 years. But my website is my shop window. And it's the way that people can find me, find out more about me, read my blog posts. And it's a really important way to find and capture leads. So if you're getting people to your website, and that's important, then you definitely want to keep your eye on click rates that you achieve. So the next time that you send an email with a link to your website, check to see if there's a spike in visitors to the page that you're linked to. And you can do that with Google Analytics. I kind of get lost in Google Analytics and get a little bit geeky about the stats. And it can be difficult to navigate your way around it. But if you want to have a look at Google Analytics, and I do recommend that you have them on your website, these are the kind of 5 things that I look at the most to help me understand how my website is performing. John's got another question. So if you want to promote several things at once, is it okay to send separate emails focusing on each one, or is that too spammy? I hear conflicting advice on best practice for this. For me, the thing that works best is to talk about one thing at a time, because it gives people less choice in their emails in the email that you send. It gives them less choice to pick what they should do next. If you've got several things to talk about, how about sending them to the landing page? So you focus in on one event that you want to fill, but then give people the option. And when you talk about them booking for that event, send them direct to that page, but then give them the option to go and look at the other events that are happening. I don't know how often your events are going to take place, John. It's going to be a bit of it's going to be a bit of a trial and error thing until you get back up to speed. I think for me, what I've seen is where I do client emails and they have a lot of things to put in. The maximum that I think people can cope with is 3 things. And then it gets a bit unwieldy scrolling on your phone, because even now, people do open their emails on a phone. So I'd say test and see what works. I haven't got a definitive answer for you. I know that one thing works best for me because I've tried putting more than one thing in my emails and I don't get as good results. I really don't. I would say go maximum 3. So if you want to get bookings for your next 3 events, put the one that's happening soonest at the top and then do the other 2 and see what works. And I can't remember how many you've got on your list, John, but you could do an A/B test and see what results you get of focusing on one event rather than having more than one. So I would send maybe I don't know, 10% of your list. So 20% in total, 10% each, one email, and see which one performs best. A/B testing will work well if you've got over 500 on your email list. So give that a go. Cool. So that's what I wanted to talk about in terms of measuring beyond opens and clicks, because people focus on opens and clicks so much. But setting yourself some other goals that you want from your email marketing, rather than I want to achieve this open rate, this click rate, is a good thing to do, and it helps focus your mind on the thing that you want to achieve from your email marketing, because we want very specific things from our emails. We want specific results, so we need to get quite detailed about what we want to achieve. Cool. I've talked about my workshop that's coming up. It's tomorrow. There is one place left. So if anybody fancies it, we're going to go through in 3 hours how to get started with email marketing. So we're going to look at planning out emails, a little plan to grow your email list, and planning your first email automation. So we're going to do that tomorrow. If you get the Marketing Morsel or in my Facebook group, go and check out those links, because there is a mega discount for you if you want to join me tomorrow. I will be back in 2 weeks' time, where we're going to go an hour earlier, and I've got a Facebook ads expert coming on. Her name's Catherine George. She's brilliant. And she's going to talk to us about the basics of Facebook advertising, because I can't wrap my head around it. So I thought I'd pull in an expert. So put that in your calendars. I will be putting up a reminder on my Facebook page and on my YouTube channel. This goes out on YouTube too. So there'll be a reminder on those two places in about a week's time. So I do hope you can join me then, and I hope to see you. Take care, and thanks for joining me today. Bye.